Welcome to the DreamDrifts Podcast by Professor Pursuit, voiced by PJ Hanafin. Tonight, I invite you to join me by the fire and embark on an adventure designed not just to entertain, but to guide you into the arms of sleep. To a place where dreams weave the fabric of reality and the world melts away. In the story that follows, we will wander together into the realms of imagination, into a story that, by its very nature, will drift from the clarity of narrative into the soothing embrace of dreams. The story that follows is designed to aid you to let go, to relax fully, and to allow the gentle tide of sleep to carry you away. So, dear listener, make yourself comfortable, tuck yourself in, find a cozy spot, and let the worries of the day melt away. Breathe deeply, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. And let each breath draw you deeper into relaxation, closer to the realms of dreams. Tonight, there's no need to hold on to the threads of wakefulness. Let them slip through your fingers as you prepare to journey with us into dreamland. And now, as the story begins, remember, this journey is for you. A path to sleep, woven with words and whispers, designed to lead you into a peaceful, restful night. So, close your eyes if you haven't already, and let us embark on this voyage to the stars, to the quiet corners of imagination, where sleep awaits to embrace you in its gentle, comforting arms. Welcome to the DreamDrifts Podcast. The Unlikely Friendship of Harold and the Moon, written and voiced by PJ Hanafin. In the hushed woods, the leaves whispered secrets to the breeze. Harold the Hedgehog was wide awake. Most of his kin nestled comfortably in their burrows, but Harold, with his curious eyes and twitching nose, found the night too fascinating to spend asleep. This night, in particular, was serene, with a sky so clear it seemed like a dark canvas dotted with twinkling stars. As he ambled through the underbrush, Harold's attention was caught by a bright glow of the moon. It hung low and full, bathing the forest in a gentle silver light that made the shadows dance. Unable to resist the allure, Harold settled atop a small hilltop, his little heart beating with excitement. "Hello, Moon," Harold called softly, not really expecting a reply. To his astonishment, the moon shivered and a warm, gentle voice responded. "Good evening, Harold. You're up late tonight," the moon said, her voice as clear as the light she shed. Startled but delighted, Harold chuckled. "I could say the same for you, Moon. You're shining especially bright this evening. What's the occasion?" "Oh, just enjoying this perfect night and the quiet, much like you, I suppose," the moon replied. Their conversation flowed easily, but Harold sharing his views on the myriad wonders of the night, a time most of his friends missed, lost in dreams. "And what do you think about? All up there alone?" Harold asked. His voice tingled with a mix of curiosity and concern. The moon pondered this a moment before answering. I think about the beauty of stillness, the stories that the stars whisper to me, and sometimes about the curious little creatures like you who gaze up and wonder. Their dialogue meandered through topics as vast as the universe itself. They discussed the quiet beauty of the night, the whispers of the wind, and the secrets of the earth held beneath its surface. Harold felt a kindred spirit in the moon, a friend who shared his nocturnal wanderings and his philosophical musings. As the night deepened, their conversation grew more profound, touching on life and love, and the pursuit of stardust. Harold found himself upon opening about this in his dreams of seeing beyond the woods, of exploring the unknown, and perhaps one evening having a tea party on Saturn, on its rings as the moon had once suggested. Why not? The moon mused. The universe is vast and full of wonders waiting for the curious and the brave. Encouraged by the moon's words, Harold's eyes sparkled with possibilities. The night was no longer just the time to wander alone. It was a canvas of dreams. And now, he had a friend to share it with. As the first hint of dawn approached, Harold bid the moon goodbye, promising to return the next night with more questions and dreams to share. The unlikely friendship of Harold and the hedgehog and the moon had just begun, and the night suddenly seemed endless with potential. As the night unfolded its dark velvet shroud over the wood, Harold scampered eagerly to his meeting spot on the hillock. His heart throbbed with anticipation of speaking again to his new, luminous friend. The moon, true to her nature, was already waiting, her glow a beacon in the twilight. "Welcome back, Harold," the moon greeted, her voice as smooth and balm to the crisp night air. "I have been thinking about your dream of exploring beyond these woods." Harold's eyes lit up with excitement, his spine quivering slightly. "Oh yes, I can hardly think of anything else," he admitted, gazing up wistfully. The moon chuckled softly, her light flickering like laughter across the water of a nearby pond. "Then perhaps tonight you should see some of these wonders for yourself." But before Harold could ask how such a thing could be possible, a gentle breeze began to swirl around him. It was no ordinary wind. It shimmered with a pale lunar light, and Harold could feel a tingling sensation as it touched his fur. The ground seemed to drift away as he was slowly lifted into the air, the forest shrinking beneath him. "We should go on a journey, Harold. A journey across the cosmos," the moon declared, her voice now coming from all around him. Wide-eyed and a little breathless with amazement, Harold felt the cool night air rush past him as he ascended higher. The trees were mere specks now, and the hills rolled away into the darkness. Up and up he went, the sky opening before him like a dark curtain, revealing the first act of a play. As they climbed higher, the stars seemed to multiply, each one a tiny point of pure light. Flickering in the vast blackness, Harold turned his gaze upwards and saw the moon up close, her craters and plains no longer just parts of a flat, glowing disk, but real, tangible places. "Tonight, Harold, we should have a tea on Saturn's rings, surf the milky clouds of the Milky Way, And perhaps if you're up for it, chase a comet or two, the moon proposed, her tone painful, yet serene. Harold could hardly believe it. The adventures he had imagined were just about to come true. As they moved through the stratosphere, the stars seemed to welcome him, twinkling more brightly as if aware of the special passenger on his way to visit. The celestial winds carried them further, past the familiar moonlight, into a realm where planets just danced in orbit and comets streaked with glory tails. Harold, the little hedgehog, from a quiet woods, was now a voyager in the boundless universe, his heart singing with joy and wonder. Each moment was surreal, a blend of the dream, reality, perfectly designed to slip the listener, just like Harold, into a ravine, where the bounds of logic and physics no longer tethered to the spirit. The adventure was just beginning, and the cosmos awaited with open arms. The journey through the heavens transformed as Harold and the moon ascended past thinning veils of Earth's atmosphere. The sky, a boundless corridor lit by the shimmering tapestry of stars, enveloped them in a serene glow. Each star seemed to pulsate with life, their lights not merely shining, but communicating in a silent language of cosmos. "Listen, Harold," the moon whispered, her voice echoing around him as if carried by the starlight itself. "The stars have stories to tell, tales older than the mountains and the seas of your world." Intrigued, Harold focused on the twinkling lights around him. To his surprise, he began to hear soft whispers, gentle melodies floating through the vastness. One bright star, a fiery orb of blue and white, caught his attention. It humbled, a slow, haunting lullaby, its melody weaving through the darkness, wrapping around him like a warm blanket. "This is Vega, one of the great storytellers of the sky," the moon explained. "Her songs are lullabies for newborn stars." As they continued their ascent, another star, golden and pulsating gently, began to narrate a tale. Its voice was like a rustling of leaves, telling a whimsical story of the distant world where the seas were made of liquid diamonds and beaches sparkled with sands of gold. Harold listened, his imagination alight with visions of such a fantastical place. The corridor of light stretched endlessly, each star a gateway to another universe of stories. They passed a cluster of tiny twinkling stars that chorused together, their voices a symphony of celestial notes. The song told of great dances they performed across the eons, swirling in patterns dictated by the gravitational music of the cosmos. "Each star you see here has been a part of many stories, Harold," the moon said, her tone both awe-inspiring and comforting. "They have witnessed the unfolding of time and space, seen worlds being born and others fading into echoes." The sky deepened, the stars becoming more vivid against the backdrop of space. Harold felt as though he was floating through a living storybook. Each page turned, revealing a new universe of wonder. The cosmic breeze that carried them was gentle yet invigorating, filled with the scents and whispers of distant galaxies. As the Milky Way came into view, it was a vast swath of stellar dust, and shining stars seemed like a river of light, guiding them on their path. Here, and amidst the cloud-like formations of the galaxy, the moon guided Harold closer to the irresistible bands. "Tonight, Harold, we surfed the Milky Way," the moon declared, a playful note in her voice. With a rush of excitement, Harold felt the lunar wind pick up, and together they glided into the Milky Way's starlit mist. The stars here were a descent denser, and their stories overlapping in a canopy of celestial lore, each tale imbued with the essence of stardust and cosmic dreams. In this starlit passage, Harold's sense of time and reality blurred, their soothing tales and lullabies lulling him into a state of blissful wonder, perfect for drifting into a dream-filled sleep, just as the listeners of this story might do. As the Milky Way faded behind them, Harold and the moon approached the majestic sight of Saturn. Its rings a dazzling array of icy patches and rocky debris, shimmering under the celestial light. The sight was breathtaking, and Harold's eyes widened with wonder as they drew closer to the planet, famous for its splendid rings. "Here we are, Harold," the moon announced cheerfully. "Saturn's rings, the perfect place for a cosmic tea party." They settled on a particularly wide and stable segment of the rings, where the ice crystals sparkled like diamonds under the soft light of distant stars. The area was prepared for celestial gathering, with a quaint moonlit table with cups that seemed to be carved from the very asteroids that danced around the planet. No sooner had they taken their seats than they were joined by the merry band of comets and asteroids, each introducing themselves with a friendly buzz or a twinkling trail. The atmosphere was lively, the cosmos itself providing a backdrop of twinkling lights and the eternal music. "The tea here is quite special, Harold," the moon explained, as she poured the steaming, shimmering liquid into their cups. "It changes flavour with your thoughts. Just think of what you'd like and it showered that." Harold thought of the fresh, earthy sense of his forest home, and he sipped the tea. It transformed within his mouth, bursting with the sweetness of stardust, followed by a spicy hint of nebula essence. It was unlike anything he had ever tasted. Each sip a new discovery. The planets themselves, massive and majestic, circled around, some coming closer to share in the festivities. Jupiter, grand and stormy, boomed with laughter, telling tales of the solar storms and meteor showerings it had witnessed. Mars, with its dusty red surface, offered a more grounded perspective, speaking of the robots that had tickled its surface and the dreams it had of one day hosting life. As the party continued, an asteroid with a bright silvery glow approached Harold. "I've travelled far," it said, "carrying stories from the outer reaches of the Kuiper belt. Would you like to hear a tale of the icy realms?" Harold nodded eagerly. An asteroid spun a story of distant worlds covered in ice and shadows, where the sun was just another star in the black sky, and the silence was so profound it almost felt solid. Throughout the tea party, the moon and Harold shared light-hearted banter with their celestial guests, discussing the peculiarities of a parliamentary weather, the latest comet paths, and the antiques of rogue asteroids. Each story added a layer of wonder to Harold's understanding of the universe, each sip of tea deepening the flavours of his cosmic experience. As the party drew to a close, Harold felt a profound sense of connection, not just to the moon, but to the entire cosmos. The universe was no longer a vast cold place, but a neighbourhood brimming with stories, laughter, and the warmth of shared tea. With a heart full of new tales, and a mind buzzing with dreams, Harold thanked his hosts and guests, ready for the next adventure. The tea on Saturn's rings would be a memory to cherish, a story of friendship and discovery among the spinning dance of planets and stars. After the enchanting tea party on Saturn's rings, Harold and the moon were ready for the next escapade. Their journey took a thrilling turn when they encountered a comet, bright and bold, with a magnificent tail streaming behind it like a celestial banner. The comet, named Callisto, welcomed them with a vibrant flicker of its tail. "Care to join me on a spin around the solar system?" Callisto offered, its voice a cracking, energetic echo into the void. Harold could hardly contain his excitement. "Oh yes, please," he exclaimed, his eyes reflecting the stardust that swirled around them. With a gentle nudge from the moon, they positioned themselves just right, and soon Harold found himself riding the comet's tail. The experience was like no other. It was as if he had jumped onto the merry-go-round that spanned the cosmos. The solar system whirled past them, planets, moons, and stars blurred into streaks of colour as they spun. As they rode the comet carousel, the moon began to narrate tales, her voice weaving through the cosmic winds. "Long ago," she began, "before the planets found their paths, there were solar heretics that shaped our very universe." She told Harold of Solia, the sun's youngest daughter, who once danced so wildly that she flung fire into the darkness, creating what would one day be known as the asteroid belt. She spoke of the mighty battles between the forces of gravitational pull and the celestial winds, which carved out the orbits in which the planets now lay. "As there are tales of love," the moon continued, her tone softening, "star-crossed lovers who defy the vast distances of space to meet." Harold listened intently as the moon recounted the legends of Orion and Bedtime, two stars from different galaxies whose light crossed the cosmos to merge in a dazzling display. Once every millennium, the light would shine as one, a testament to the enduring love seen across the universe. The comet spun through the famous landmarks of the solar system, giving Harold a view of Mars's towering volcanoes, Jupiter's swirling storms, and the fragile rings of Uranus. All while the background of the cosmic ride was filled with the moon's stories. Every twist and turn of the comet's tail brought a new perspective, a new constellation, and a new part of the cosmos to marvel at. The Harold felt as though he was not just riding a comet, but also riding the waves of history and myth, each tale enriching his understanding of the stars and their lore. As the ride began to slow and the familiar glow of the Earth started to come into view, Harold felt a mix of exhilaration and wistfulness. The comet carousel had been a journey through time and space, a whirlwind tour of the solar system, guided by legends and the steady, loving narration of the moon. "Thank you for the stories," Harold whispered, grateful for the depths of the universe that had been opened to him. "My pleasure, Harold," the moon replied, her glow warm and comforting. "Remember, every star you see has a story, and now, so do you." With that, they gently dismounted from the comet, the solar system settling back into its steady, majestic rhythm around them, leaving Harold with memories of a ride that spanned the fabric of space and the tales of its eternal inhabitants. Refreshed from the exhilarating ride on the comet carousel, Harold and the moon ventured deeper into the heart of the Milky Way. Here, amidst the dense tapestry of stars and cosmic dust, they found themselves at the edge of a vast expanse of celestial clouds. These weren't ordinary clouds. They were clouds of interstellar gas and dust, glowing with the light of a million suns. "Ready for another adventure, Harold?" the moon asked, her voice echoing with a playful tone. "Always," Harold replied, his eyes wide with anticipation as he gazed at the swirling mists before them. With a gentle push from the moon's gravitational pull, they began to surf the clouds alive with the energy of the galaxy, morphed as they moved through them. One moment they took the shape of a giant whale, its tail flickering with stars like droplets of water. The next, they transformed into a laughing child, her giggle sending ripples across the cosmic sea. As they glided through these fantastical formations, the moon began to spin tails, each inspired by the shapes around them. "See that dragon?" She pointed to a cloud morphing into the fearsome creature, its scales shimmering with stardust. "It guards the treasure of Andromeda, a nebula rich with newborn stars." Harold listened, captivated as the moon continued. "And there, that castle floating on the cloud," she narrated as they passed a majestic structure formed from gas and dust. "It's lost the palace of Cassiopeia, where the ancient cosmos rulers gathered to decree the fate of stars." With each new shape and each new story, the colours around them shifted. Vibrant blues, radiant reds and ethereal greens painted the sky, each hue blending with the next. The sounds too were mesmerising. The cosmos wind carried melodies that seemed composed by the universe itself, notes that resonated with the frequencies of planets and stars. The experience was surreal, transcending time and space. Harold felt as if he were drifting in a dream, each cloud a scene from a grand, otherworldly play. The moon's voice, calm and enchanting, guided him through these visions, her tales weaving a tapestry of cosmic lore and legends. As they continued their journey, surfing on the clouds shaped like a mighty ship, the moon's stories filled Harold with a deep sense of connection to the cosmos. Each tale not only entertained, but also imparted a lesson about the universe's wonders and mysteries. Finally, as the cloud ship gently set them down on the outskirts of the Milky Way, Harold felt a profound sense of peace and awe. The adventure of cloud surfing through the galaxy had enveloped him in a mist of colours and sounds, each moment a brushstroke on the canvas of his expanding universe. Thank you for these stories. For this journey, Harold said, his voice soft with gratitude. "It is my pleasure to share the universe with you, Harold," the moon replied, her glow warm and reassuring. "There are endless stories up here, waiting for those who dare to dream and explore." As they paused to gaze back at the path they had travelled, the Milky Way seemed to sparkle a bit brighter, as if acknowledging their passage and the stories they carried with them. After their mesmerising adventure, cloud surfing through the Milky Way, Harold and the moon ventured further into a less traversed path of the cosmos. They arrived at what the moon referred to as the asteroid garden. This celestial garden was not marked by the usual barren rocks seen from afar, but the asteroids teeming with life, each unique floating island in the void of space. As they approached, Harold noticed that each asteroid was adorned with a moss that cast a soft, eerie glow in the dark. There were also crystal flowers, each petal perfectly formed, shimmering with the light of distant stars, reflecting the colours of the cosmos. It was a breathtaking sight. The garden seemed to pulse with a life of its own, each rock a testament to the silent, enduring beauty of the universe. Each asteroid here carries its own little ecosystem, the moon explained softly, her voice filled with reverence for the serene before them. Over millennia, spores and minerals from various parts of the galaxy have settled on these rocks, creating what you see now. Harold was awestruck. He wandered from one asteroid to another, the moon floating gently beside him. They observed the delicate balance of these tiny ecosystems, how the biomethylene moss provided light that helped the crystal flowers grow, and how each element seemed perfectly adapted to its environment. This garden is a reminder of the universe's quiet growth, the moon mused, as they paused to admire a particularly vibrant cluster of asteroids. It's a place where life persists, silently and beautifully amidst the cold vastness. Harold reached out to gently touch a glowing strand of moss. It felt warm and slightly tingly, a vivid contrast to the cold void around them. "It's amazing," he whispered. "How are we even here in the depths of space? Life finds a way." "Yes," the moon agreed. "It's a lesson in resilience and beauty." These asteroids drift through space seemingly isolated, yet each is a world unto itself, life of colour. As they meandered through the garden, the moon shed thoughts on a broader cosmos. How it was filled with such gardens, some hidden in the shadows of planets, others floating freely in the open starlight. Each garden harboured secrets of the universe, a silent witness to the eons passing by. Their exploration became a journey not just through space, but through the ideas of existence and the roles of silence and growth in the cosmos. The garden was not just a place of biological wonder, but also a space for philosophical reflection, where the slow, steady beat of the cosmic time was palpable. "This place," Harold said, looking around, "makes you realise just how interconnected everything is, even if it seems separate on the surface." "Exactly, Harold," the moon replied, her tone soft yet profound. "Every part of the universe, no matter how small, it plays a part in the grand scheme of things." As they left the asteroid garden, floating back into the starry expanse, Harold carried with him Not just the image of glowing moss and sparkling flowers, but the deep, quiet appreciation of life's persistence and the silent, graceful dance of the cosmos. After leaving the serene beauty of the asteroid garden, Harold and the Moon's next destination was one of the most mysterious phenomena in the cosmos, a black hole. However, this was no ordinary black hole, known among celestial bodies as the laughing black hole. It was famous not just for its fearsome gravitational pull alone, but for its jovial nature and deep rumbling chuckles that echoed through the cosmos. As they approached, Harold felt a slight trepidation. The idea of a black hole typically invoked images of destruction and dark, not laughter. Yet as they drew nearer, the expected ominous silence was replaced by a low, hearty laughter that vibrated through the fabric of space itself. "Hello, dear Moon. And who is this you brought to my corner of the stars?" The black hole boomed, its voice deep and resonant, yet filled with warmth. "This is Harold," the Moon introduced. "Harold, meet our friend, the laughing black hole. He knows the best jokes in the universe." Harold, now more curious than fearful, greeted the black hole. The black hole responded with a joke right away. "Why don't scientists trust atoms anymore?" "Because they make up everything." The joke, simple yet profound in the context of their cosmic surroundings, made Harold chuckle. The laughter seemed to warp the space around them with tiny ripples appearing in the cosmic fabric, visuals echoes of the black hole's infectious laughter. "His jokes," the Moon whispered to Harold, "are said to bend both space and reason. Listen well, you'll hear wisdom in his whimsy." Encouraged, Harold listened as the black hole shaped more of its humour. Each joke twisted the very concepts of space and time, like, what did the black hole say to the star? "Lighten up." While the humour was light, the underlying truth spoke of the nature of the universe, the interactions of celestial bodies, and the often whimsical chaos of the cosmic events. The black hole's laughter was not just an auditory experience, but it was a physical one. The vibrations caused by its deep chuckles seemed to temporarily alter the very essence of space around them, making the stars twinkle in different patterns and swirl in the synchronized mirror. As they floated into the black hole's presence, Harold began to understand how laughter could exist even in the depths of a black hole, symbolizing hope and joy in the face of the vast, often incomprehensible universe. The black hole, sensing Harold's growing understanding, shared a parting piece of wisdom cloaked in humour. Why is the universe so bad at playing hide and seek? Because it's always expanding. Harold laughed, now completely at ease. The fear he might have felt was replaced by a profound sense of connection to even this most formidable of cosmic entities. As they thanked the laughing black hole and continued on their journey, Harold reflected on the lessons of laughter and light found in the heart of darkness. Their encounter had shown him that joy could be found in the most unexpected places, and wisdom often came wrapped in the layers of humour, waiting to be unravelled by those willing to listen and laugh along. After their jovial encounter with the laughing black hole, Harold and the moon journeyed on, finding themselves drawn to a slow-moving meteor that seemed to travel with a thoughtful, deliberate pace through the cosmos. This meteor, unlike the swift and fiery stones that often streak the night sky of Earth, moved with serene grace, its surface glowing softly with inner light. As they landed gently upon it, the moon explained, "This is no ordinary meteor. It's known among the stars for its philosophical nature. It contemplates the universe as it travels." Intrigued by the prospect of a philosophical rock, Harold settled beside the moon on the meteor's smooth, warm surface. The stars around them seemed to glow, and they seemed to slow their dance, lending a tranquil backdrop to what promised to be a deep exchange. "Hello, wise traveller," the moon greeted the meteor. "May we join you in our journey to sharing your thoughts?" The meteor responded not with words, but with a warm, inviting vibration, encouraging them to continue. "What do you think about as you wander through the cosmos?" Harold asked, his voice echoing slightly against the meteor's crystalline surface. In a way that felt like the slow shifting of sands, the meteor conveyed its thoughts. "I ponder existence," it seemed to say. "What does it mean to continue being and to eventually cease to be?" The moon nodded, her glow softening. "And what have you concluded, dear meteor?" "That essence is but a moment in time, yet each moment holds eternity," the meteor responded through its vibrations, the concept tickling Harold's mind with complexity and simplicity. They continued in this manner, the conversations drifting into topics like happiness, dreams, and the seemingly absurd journey of life itself. "What is happiness?" Harold wondered out loud. "It's like the light from a distant star," the meteor suggested. "You can see it, feel its warmth, yet it is millions of miles away. By the time its light touches you, the moment has passed, yet the warmth remains." "And dreams?" Harold pressed, intrigued by the meteor's presence. "Dreams are the seeds we scatter throughout the existence, hoping that we find a place to root, even long after we are gone." The moon offered her words mingling with the meteor's thoughts. Their dialogue endured through existential lanes and alleys, each turn unveiling a gentle absurdity about life's quest. The meteor, with its millennia of traversing emptiness of space, shared tales of other meteors and asteroids it had encountered, each with its own dreams of reaching a distant star, or becoming a shooting star for some distant observer. As the conversation deepened, Harold found the dialogue not only profound, but also soothing in its absurdity. The vastness of space, paired with the philosophical nature, mysteries of a meteor, put his own existence into perspective. It was as if the universe itself were gently poking fun at the seriousness of which beings often approach life. As they neared the end of their journey with the meteor, Harold felt a new sense of peace. The absurdity wasn't just amusing, it was enlightening. Understanding that dreams, existence, and even happiness were part of a cosmic dance made him feel both small and significant at the same time. With a grateful nod to the philosophical meteor, Harold and the moon prepared to continue their journey, their thoughts enriched and their hearts lit with the cosmic giggle of existence. Leaving the philosophical musings of the slow-moving meteor behind, Harold and the Moon collided into an area of space marked with softly glowing nebula. This was no ordinary nebula. It was known among celestial bodies as the Nebula of Forgotten Songs. Here, the echoes of melodies long lost to time resonated through the colourful clouds of gas and dust. As they entered the nebula, the air around them, though it was no air in space, it felt as if there was, vibrated with the soft hums and whispers of ancient tunes. Each melody seemed to carry with it the weight of many millennia, the memories of civilizations both long forgotten and those that still whispered their histories across the universe. This place, the Moon explained in a hushed tone, contains the songs that were once sung on planets now gone and galaxies far from here. Each note you hear is a remnant of a story, an emotion, a life. Harold listened, entranced. The songs varied widely from the deep, mournful digresses of lost worlds to the vibrant, jubilant anthems of civilizations celebrating their zenith. As they floated deeper into the nebula, the melodies entwined, creating a symphony of sounds that were almost overwhelming in its beauty and sadness. It's like hearing a heartbeat of the past, Harold remarked. His voice soft, barely above a whisper. Yes, the Moon agreed. And each heartbeat tells a story of what once was. It's a reminder that nothing truly ends. It simply changes form and continues another way. They paused near the centre of the nebula, where the songs seemed most concentrated. Here the notes shimmered visibly in the air, a spectacle of light and sound. Harold could see faint images, like ghosts, filtering through the melodies. Scenes of alien landscape, faces filled with joy and sorrow, and hope. These are the memories attached to the songs, the Moon explained. They are projections of the lost emotions felt when these tunes were sung. Harold reached out, his paw moving through the colours, feeling a slight warmth of the nebula itself, responded to his touch. With each note he touched, a new fragrance of a lost memory played out, like a silent movie only he could see. This place is so full of beauty and nostalgia, Harold sighed. It makes you wonder about all the songs we sing, doesn't it? What will happen to them when we're gone? They will join in the cosmic chorus, just like these, the Moon replied. Perhaps one day someone else will wander through the nebula like this and hear a song you once sang. Comforted by this thought, Harold felt a deep connection to the universe, a link forged not just by space and time, but by the shared expressions of countless beings who had come before him. They spent what felt like hours adrift among the songs, each a tune thread and tapestry of cosmic history. Eventually, they drifted out of the nebula of forgotten songs, the echoes of ancient melodies fading behind them, but leaving a lasting impression in Harold's heart. He realised that every song mattered, every note contributed to the infinite library of the cosmos, ensuring that nothing was ever truly forgotten. Revitalised by the haunting melodies of the nebula of forgotten songs, Harold and the Moon continued on their celestial journey. eventually coming upon a grand and spectacular sight: the Constellation Theatre. This was no ordinary theatre. It was a majestic assembly of stars, each forming part of the grand architecture, glowing brightly against the velvet backdrop of space. The theatre itself was run by constellations, groups of stars that had taken on the roles of actors, playwrights, and directors. Each constellation had its own story to tell, their dramas written in the language of light and shadow, spanning the scale of galaxies. As they arrived, they were greeted by Orion, the hunter constellation, now donning on the hat of the theatre director. "Welcome, Harold, and welcome, Moon." Orion boomed, his stars twinkling with excitement. "You've come just in time for tonight's performance. Please find your seat." The theatre was bustling with an audience of wandering comets, intrigued asteroids, and other celestial entities, all eager to witness the night's drama. Harold and the Moon found their seats, which floated lightly in the perfect vantage point to the celestial stage. The play began with a dramatic flair, the constellation of Cassiopeia taking centre stage. Their plot was an extravagant tale of star-crossed lovers from opposing galaxies, their love forbidden yet irresistible. The narrative quickly spiraled into a delightful nonsense, with characters engaging in witty banter and ludicrous escapades that defied the laws of physics and common sense. As the performance unfolded, planets spun through their dialogues, comets dripped across the stage for dramatic exits, and black holes provided the perfect backdrop for scenes of cosmic peril. The dialogue was a mixture of poetic stanzas and sharp, witty exchanges, ensuring the audience was both entranced and thoroughly amused. Harold found himself completely absorbed in the spectacle, his earlier connotations of existence and memory giving way to a light-hearted detachment from reality. The stories, while nonsensical, were a celebration of the imaginative extremes only possible in the boundless freedom of space. At intermission, the Moon leaned over to Harold. "What do you think of the performance?" she asked, her tone light and curious. "It's wonderfully absurd," Harold replied, his eyes sparkling with joy. "It's like watching a dream unfold where everything and anything can happen." "That's the beauty of the Constellation Theatre," the Moon explained. "Here, the stories are meant to be delightful escape from reality. A chance for all of us in the cosmos to forget our orbits and just be lost in fantasy." The second act was even more bizarre than the first, with a plot involving a conspiracy to steal the shrine from the sun, only to be thwarted by the band of heroic novas. The final scene was a spectacular display of lights and cosmic effects, leaving the audience in awe. As the stars took their bows and the crowd dispersed into the cosmic night, Harold felt a deep sense of peace and amusement. The Constellation Theatre had offered him a respite from the despair, sometimes heavier thoughts at the universe often inspired. Here, in the company of stars and their boundless creativity, Harold found a joyful tranquility in the embrace of the galactic scale nonsense. After the enchanting escapade at the Constellation Theatre, Harold and the Moon's next destination was perhaps one of the most unique and profound places in the cosmos. The Library of Unwritten Books. This cosmic library, situated in the quiet expanse of the nebula, housed all the books that were never written on Earth. Every thought unthought, every story untold. As they entered the library, the silence was palpable, the kind of profound quiet that speaks of infinite possibilities. The shelves stretched endlessly, each filled with books glowing with a soft, ethereal light. The titles shimmered on the spines, inviting Harold to explore the myriad of what-ifs of human creativity. Each of these books represents a possibility that was never realised, a dream that was never followed, the moon explained, her voice echoing softly in the vast, starlight chamber. Here, you can browse the endless imaginations of those who never penned their thoughts. Harold wandered through the aisles, his paws touching the spines of the books gently. Each book he pulled from the shelf was a gateway into a world of bizarre and brilliant ideas. One book titled The Giraffe Who Ruled the Night. The story of a giraffe that literally dressed in the darkness of space, its spots becoming stars at night. Another, The Ocean's Secret Keeper, narrated the tale of an old white octopus withheld in the mysteries of the deep sea, sparkling, speaking only in riddles. With each title Harold pursued, the plot grew increasingly strange yet compelling. He read about a city where all the buildings were made of glass clouds. A man who could turn his dreams into paintings that predicted the future, and a child who befriended the moon, a concept Harold found particularly endearing. One peculiar book caught his attention though. It's a cover of a swirling mass of colours that seemed to move as he looked at it. The title was The Paradox Bakery, and it told the story of a baker who made desserts that could make people taste colours and see sounds. The narrative twisted logic in such a delightful way that eating a simple cupcake could transport the eater to another dimension. As Harold developed and delved deeper into the library, he felt his imagination stir, each book adding fuel to the fire of his creativity. The moon watched with a knowing smile, understanding the profound impact the library had on Harold. This place shows us that the boundary between reality and imagination is only as solid as we make it, the moon mused. Imagine how rich the world would be if all these books had been written. Harold nodded, overwhelmed by the endless potential each book represented. It's like walking through a forest of what could have been, he said, his voice filled with awe. Eventually, they made their way back to the entrance of the library, Harold's mind buzzing with ideas and stories. As they left, he took one last look at the glowing shelves, a promise forming in his heart to never let go of his dreams, lest they too end up in such a library, unread and unexplored. The Library of Unwritten Books was not just a collection of missed opportunities, it was a celebration of potential, a reminder that the universe itself was a kind of story, constantly unfolding in surprise and magnificent ways. After the profound impact of the Library of Unwritten Books, Harold and the Moon continued their celestial journey. drawn next to a mesmerizing mystical part of the cosmos known as the Dream Nebula. This nebula, unlike any other they had visited, was renowned across the galaxy for its ability to weave together the dreams and aspirations of countless beings into a visual and sensory tapestry. As they approached, the nebula enveloped them in a soft, multicolored mist. The colours shifted gently, pale blues, soft lavenders, and warm pinks swirling around them. Each hue represented a different dream, a different peaceful fantasy designed to soothe the mind. The Dream Nebula is where the universe dreams, the moon explained, her voice filled with reverence. It collects the subconsciousness, hopes and desires of all living creatures, weaving them into the fabric of space itself. Harold watched in awe as the nebula seemed to pulse with life, its movements synchronized with the invisible breaths of the cosmos. Streams of light flowed like rivers, each carrying snippets of dreams. A child's laughter echoing through the meadow, a poet whispered verses under a starlit sky, an old woman's sigh as she watched the sunset from a distant planet. They floated deeper into the heart of the nebula, where the dreams became more vivid. Here the tapestry was not just visual, but fully immersive. Harold could hear the faint sounds of music, of laughter, and even the distant roar of oceans from planets he had never visited. The sense of fresh rain, blooming flowers, and other more exotic smells filled the air, each adding to the richness of the experience. This place shows us what truly lies in the hearts of all beings, the new mused. It's a reminder of the purest forms and hope and happiness. Harold reached out, his hand passing through a stream of light that immediately sparked a vision. A small village celebrating a festival, fireworks bursting in the joyous colours, faces alight with happiness. It was so clear, so vivid, that he felt momentarily transported to that very celebration. As they continued to explore, they came across a particularly dense cluster of light that pulsed rhythmically, like the beating of a heart. This, the moon said softly, is where new dreams are born. It's a nursery for the future aspirations of the universe. Surrounded by the celestial nursery, Harold felt a profound sense of peace. Here, in the heart of the Dream Nebula, the worries of the world seemed insignificant compared to the endless possibilities of hope and imagination. They spent what felt like an eternity adrift in the dreams of the universe. Each moment a brushstroke in the ever-expanding artwork of collective aspirations. The experience was not just soothing, but deeply healing, reinforcing the interconnectedness of all life shared through dreams and desires. Finally, as they prepared to leave the nebula, Harold felt changed. He carried with him not just his own dreams, but a piece of the universal dream, a shared vision of peace and joy that transcended planets and species. The Dream Nebula shows us that no dream is too small or too fleeting. The moon whispered as they exited the colourful mist. Each one contributes to the tapestry of the cosmos, and each one is cherished. With hearts, laughter, lighter in the minds filled with serene images, Harold and the moon continued on their journey. The Dream Nebula fading behind them, but its impact lingering like a gentle echo in their souls. After their surreal and enlightening journey through the Dream Nebula, Harold and the Moon sensed the approach of dawn back on Earth. The sky was beginning to shift, the deepest blacks and ingenious of night slowly giving way to the first gentle hints of the morning blue. The time had come for the cosmic journey to draw to a close, and for Harold to return to his earthly home. They floated towards Earth, the planet's familiar silhouette gradually becoming clearer against the lightening sky. As they neared the atmosphere, the two friends found a quiet spot on the edge of night, where the stars still twinkled brightly, but the promise of a new day was palpable. "Harold," the Moon began, her voice tinged with a soft melancholy. "Our adventure must end for now. Dawn is nearly upon us, and with it comes your return to the world below." Harold looked at the Moon, his heart full of gratitude and wistful sadness. "I never knew how the universe had such wonders," he said. "Thank you for showing me the cosmos, for sharing its stories and its dreams." The Moon glowed warmly, her light enveloping Harold in a comforting embrace. "I am the one who should thank you, Harold. Sharing this journey with you has been a joy. The universe is a beautiful place, but it is even more so when experienced with a friend." Together, they reflected on their adventures, from the philosophical musings of the meteor to the whimsical tea party on Saturn's rings, from the laughs shared with the jovial black hole to the quiet beauty of the asteroid garden. Each experience had woven a new thread into the fabric of their friendship, creating a tapestry as rich and as vivid as any in the cosmos. As dawn breaks, remember that though we part ways now, we are always connected, the Moon said. Every night when you look up at the sky, know that I am here, watching over you, and I will be here looking up, remembering our adventures and waiting for the night when we can explore again. Harold replied, his voice steady through his eyes, glistened with the onset and farewells. The Moon smiled, a radiant soothing light. "And we will meet again, Harold, in dreams. The universe is vast and our adventures are far from over." With that promise hanging softly between them, the first rays of sunlight began to touch the horizon, painting the sky in strokes of orange and pink. Harold felt the gentle pull of Earth calling him back. They shared their final, silent moment. The bond of their friendship was as deep and as vast as the universe itself. Then, with a gentle nudge from the Moon's gravitational push, Harold was slowly lowered back to his forest home. As he touched down, the familiar sights and sounds of the woods greeted him, a stark contrast to the cosmic wonders he'd experienced, but comforting in their normality. He turned once more and to look up to the Moon, her form fading in the glowing light, but her presence still palpable. "Until next time," Harold whispered, his heart full of stories to dream about until the night would once again bring their worlds together. With the first bird song of dawn, the Moon set on the horizon, and Harold, with the soul enriched by the vast wonders of the cosmos, curled up in his burrow, ready to dream of the endless stars and the gentle light of his dear friend, the Moon. As Harold settled back into the familiar comforts of his garden, the first rays of dawn kissed the dew-soaked grass, casting the world in a soft golden light. The night's adventures had seemed like a dream, a beautiful lingering whisper of stars and cosmos. Yet Harold carried the warmth of the universe in his heart, the memories of his celestial journey fresh and vivid in his mind. He made his way to his nest, the earthly smell of soil and the fresh green scent of the leaves grounding him back to this earthly existence. The garden was waking up, birds chirped cheerily, flirting about in the morning light, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, adding a peaceful soundtrack to the dawn. As Harold nestled into his nest, he felt a profound sense of peace wash over him. His body was tired from the night's escapades, but his spirit was light, filled with the joy of his cosmic explorations. The stories he had gathered, from the philosophical musings of the slow-moving meteor to the delightful absurdity of the constellation theatre, swirled in his mind, a treasure trove of tales to cherish and dream about. Closing his eyes, Harold let the tranquility of the morning envelope him. The sounds of the garden, the soft rustling of the trees, and the distant call of the morning dove blended into a smoothing melody. The cool earth beneath him and the warm sun above created a perfect balance, a gentle embrace that promised rest and renewal. As he drifted off into sleep, the adventures he had shared with the moon seemed to play out again in the edge of his dreams. The nebula of forgotten songs hummed softly in the background. The laughter of the black hole echoed gently, and the serene beauty of the asteroid garden bloomed vividly in his mind's eye. Harold's breaths deepened, each inhale drawing in the freshness of a new day, each exhale releasing the last vestiges of nighttime wonders. The garden around him came fully to life as the day began. Creatures big and small starting their daily routines, each unaware of the hedgehog who had surfed the Milky Way and sipped tea on Saturn's rings. Good night.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Also, if you're interested in exploring other topics, make sure to check out my other 2 channels which are linked below. I appreciate your support and I'll see you in the next video.